Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you the formula CAPTCHA that will ensure that you have perfect prompts every time. This is really important to me. About 18 months ago, I was playing around with the large language models and I was struggling. I wasn't getting what I wanted out of it. I was sort of thinking, this is all a bit rubbish. And then I watched a video on prompt engineering and that changed everything. From that moment on, I was able to get out what I wanted from the large language model. So that really changed me and got me excited about the use of AI. So I've been using AI almost every day for 18 months. And this is what I've learned. I put it into this formula, and I know that this formula is going to make a real difference to the way you use AI. By the end of this video, you will know how to create the perfect prompts for what you want to get out of ChatGPT, out of Gemini, out of Llama, out of Claude, all the large language models. And this will give you tips for using things like Midjourney and DALL-E, etc. as well. Trust me, once you've learned how to use CAPTCHA and you've mastered it, your use of AI will never be the same again. It changed me, it will change you. Let's get into it. In the description, I will put a full explanation of each of these different steps so you can take it away with you, download it, put it next to your desk, just get using it. You won't need it forever. Just use it regularly. Soon it will become second nature to you. Okay, so let's go into a high level view of what CAPTCHA is all about. So the C is for context. You've got to tell ChatGPT what you need. So you've got to provide the context. The A is ask clearly. What's the intent? So stating your intent is really important. Giving the GPT intent. So that's A, ask clearly. Give the GPT intent. Next one, P, persona. This is really important. Something I use all the time. I think it's one of the most important first steps. Tell it who you want ChatGPT to act like. Next, T, tone and format. Specify how you want the answer to be produced. Do you want a list? Do you want it in a table? U is use best grammar. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you will know I can't spell for toffee and often get the grammar wrong. But what happens is that sometimes you get it wrong. A really good example, if you put Canva in instead of canvas, then you get a very different response from ChatGPT. R is for request specificity. So be specific, mention exactly what you want the large language model to cover. Finally, E is engage with it, engage with the response. Remember that these are just models that are, I guess, picking out patterns. They are doing their best to try and work out what the most appropriate response is to your question, and they will not get it right all the time. In fact, they will get it wrong almost all of the time. But if you go back in, ask further detailed questions, ask it to refine answers, engage with the text, then you have a really good chance of getting out exactly what you want. Okay, let's get into it. So first of all, I'm in ChatGPT. This is the unpaid version, so not the full fat version. So we're going to use everything we show you today is in the free version, so available to you absolutely today. Nothing special about any of this. Okay, let's jump into the first area of the formula, which is C, which is context. Let's try out two different prompts and see what the difference is between the two of them. Okay, so I've created the first general prompt with no particular context, and it's tell me about cats. Let's see what we get. And we get a fascinating history of cats. Domesticated 9,000 years ago, complex behavior. If you ever met my cat, he's got very complex behavior. Doesn't like me at all. My wife, Mrs. Professor, sticks to her like glue. Okay, so this time what I've done is added some context. Tell me about keeping Persian cats with a large family. I've been specific about the type of cats. I've told it about the context of what I'm keeping cats in. Let's see what I get from this request. Much more information that is relevant to what I'm trying to find out. So Persian cats in a large family can be delightful, but does require some special considerations. Family friendly, attention and bonding. Our cat hasn't really bonded with me, but has with other people. Socialization, grooming needs, face cleaning, health considerations, creating a comfortable environment, routine veterinary care. There you go. So you can see by adding context, you get much more detail and much closer to an answer that you might want to get from the large language model. That's context. Let's move on. Okay, so the next thing is A, or ask clearly. Give it intent. Tell it what you're wanting to do with the output. So let's start off without much intent. So write me a story about a knowledgeable tree. See what we get. ChatGPT is very good at this sort of thing. An ancient forest, an old tree named Althea. Bark was rough. We've got a nice story. Just keeps going on and on and on. Okay, so we've got something. Let's see if we can refine that by giving it a clear intent. Okay, so now I've added some intent. I'm writing a simple children's book. That's my intent. Write me a story about a knowledgeable tree. And then we get a story that's much more suitable for a child. Once upon a time, in the middle of a quiet green forest, much less dense, much easier text, some interesting characters, and a story for a child. So giving it context will give you what you want to get out of the large language model. Let's move on. Okay, so now we're going to look at the P, which is persona. So we'll start off without a persona. Write me a blog about prompting. Okay, so it's written me a pretty reasonable blog. Okay, so let's try it with a persona. You are a professional copywriter. This is one I use all the time. Write me a blog about prompting. And as it says at the top, as a professional copywriter, I understand that crafting a perfect message is all about precision and clarity and a bit of creative flair. Same principles apply to prompting AI, especially if you're working with tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney, where every word counts towards achieving your ideal output. Here's how to prompt like a pro and maximize what AI can deliver. And what it will have done is created a blog that is much more focused, much more what you would get if you asked a professional copywriter. And when you compare these two things together, you'll see a massive difference when you're given the prompt a persona. So I also use personas like you are a financial analyst. If I'm looking at financial documents and I want it to give me that level of response, or response from that perspective, if you like. Another one I use is you are a legal professional, and then it will give me a legal view rather than an operational professional might give me over a contract, etc. So deciding who you want ChatGPT to act as is really important, and so giving it a persona is makes a real difference to the type of response you'll get. Persona, really important. Use it. If that's the only one you use that now when you're prompting with ChatGPT, and you'll find you'll get a really smashing difference between what you had previously and what you'll get in future. Okay, the next one is tone or format, tone and format. So give me the top SEO tags to use for a video related to AI. Gives me a list, popular niches, tells me about different tags to use. Let's try something a bit different. I've used exactly the same prompt. Give me the top SEO tags for use for a video related to AI. But I've said put the response in a useful table, and it just gives you the response in a much more effective way. Okay, so the next is tone and format. So let's start off with write an article on the future of AI. And as you would expect, of course, what I would have done was give it a persona. I would have told it exactly what I wanted in terms of intent, and I would have had a context to it. But for the purposes of this, let's just start off with this. So there we go. This time I'm going to give it exactly the same prompt, but I'm going to say, write an article on the future of AI, make it fun and amusing. See what we get. And here we go. Just at the start, it's given me a much more interesting title, The Future of AI, Robots, Romance, and Really Smart Toasters. buckle up, the future of artificial intelligence is coming in hot and is about to get weird, wonderful, and yes, downright hilarious. So there you go. We've changed the tone, exactly the same prompt, but we've changed the tone of it, and therefore you get a different output. Playing around with this, we get some really interesting outcomes that you'll be able to use in all of the work that you do with ChatGPT and AI. Okay, the next thing, use best grammar. Now, this is one I struggle with. I can't type for toffee, often make mistakes. I just press go. ChatGPT will sort it out 95% of the time, but sometimes you get something critical wrong and it will send you down a rabbit hole, and you can find yourself 20 minutes later thinking, where on earth did I get to this point? So let's try something that's perhaps not quite right and see if we can correct it and get it right. Okay, so my prompt is, what is the interest in student loans in UK? It tells you how it works, tuition fees. It does give us the interest rates, so interest on student loans. It's given me a pretty decent response, and it's given me some very nice things that I can go and look at. Let's try the actual prompt that I wanted. So let's try the actual prompt that I wanted. What is the interest on student loans in the UK? See if we still get this long answer, or whether it just gives me the loan rates. There you go. And it's just given me what I wanted. So just changing in to on has changed the response significantly, and I get a much more detailed response when I do it properly. So a lot of the time, ChatGPT will solve your mistyping, your grammar errors, etc. But it's really worth just having that read through your prompt before you press go, just changing that word to make sure it's absolutely right. It will save you time, I promise you. Let's move on. Okay, the next one is R. The next letter in the formula capture is R, and that's request specificity. So here I've got a prompt, tell me about Labradors. See what we get. We'll get a lot of general stuff, no doubt, breed characteristics, temperament, intelligence, physical appearance, lots of information. Cool. Let's try and be more specific. Okay, it's fair to say ChatGPT does a good job at giving you a general overall view of Labradors, but this time I'm saying, tell me about Labradors, exactly the same prompt, but tell me about keeping them as family pets, the cost, the size they grow to, and how long I would expect them to live. So I've been much more specific about what I want. And I get exactly what I've asked for. Size, are they good as family pets? Size, the lifespan, and the cost of keeping a Labrador in pounds, which is nice, and the considerations and a conclusion. So being specific, you'll get a much better response. I guess what I want to say is try these things out. If you've been struggling with ChatGPT or with Gemini and you think, it's all right, but it's not really giving me what I want, try this out and you will find that you start getting responses that just hit the mark, much more of the final one, E. Okay, the final part of the prompt formula is E, engage, follow up. So we've just asked about Labradors. Thank you. You don't have to be nice to ChatGPT, but I just can't help it. I think it's a British thing. Could you go into more detail about how we might keep them? What will be the requirements on the family, and any tips you can give me for healthy and fun-loving dogs? So we've got a whole load of information, and what we're asking for is more information. Give me more. Daily activity, exercise and activity requirements, aim for at least 1 to 2 hours a day, training and socialization, learning basic commands, diet and nutrition, high quality dog food, portion control. If you've had a Labrador, you know this is important. Health and care for your dog, mental stimulation, grooming and hygiene, creating a health, safe and comfortable home environment, designate some space, spending good quality time, having outdoor adventures. So, and this is the real beauty of this technology. You don't just get a response. It's not like Google, give me a list of things, then you have to go and learn from it. You can ask it to go and find things. It will bring it together, and then you can have a conversation with what it's produced to get the output that you finally want. Hope you found that useful. Remember CAPTCHA. That's what you need to remember. If you go down below, I've got a document that you can download, you can keep by your side, which gives you examples of how to use this formula. I promise you, if you start using this formula, you'll start getting enormous benefits. You'll start getting multiple X's of benefits from your time using the large language models. Print it out, keep it next to you. Remember me. If you've enjoyed the video, if you've learned something, please press like, subscribe, and ring the bell for future videos. I'll catch you soon. I've been the Professor.